Hello, people of Sinnoh. My name is Frosty, and welcome to your PRs from NPBA. I am. It is brought to you by myself and.
Coltrane's. I'm assuming at least most of you are familiar with me, at least in the Sinnoh division. Uh, did your PRs on your individual picks, and I'm in Kanto currently, and I am pleased to come with you all on this journey of getting your teams rated. All right.
I'm from Holland. Uh, Essentially, I've been doing PRs for a while, and I thought I would be able to share my quote unquote expertise. At this point, I've been doing them way too much to not be good at this.
hmm
I like to think I'm good, but obviously, just remember these are like opinions on teams. There's some like
Yeah,
very differentiating ones, and I have some
and
words and like
yeah, like I'm going off of a rubric. I tried to make it a little bit more objective, just kind of like on some good draft things, and I believe you went with more of a kind of feel from your experience, right?
yeah. So like mine was definitely more about okay. Do I think all these Pokemon mesh well together? I obviously took things into account like hazards, resist, and speed tiers. I didn't really go too much into cores. I don't mind too much if your core is not like Fairy Dragon Steel, Fire, Water, Grass, right? I'm not too like big on that, but it's just like okay, everything else. It's like does it work well together?
hmm And I think just your cores was like a third of the points for on my rubric, which I will be releasing after we do this video and get it out to you guys. You guys are gonna have access to that. I'll
I'll
drop it
also
in there. So
we'll probably both release just our pages about like what we said about each team in depth. More than
hmm
likely, I know I will. I'm not sure about call trains yet.
yeah, yeah, and I think in my rubric I have like a little paragraph typically per team in the attachment,
Yeah.
which is pretty much just my opinion on it. So. And how we're going to do this going into this, we kind of went with both of our rankings, uh, talked out a couple disagreements, and it kind of came to a average between the two. I know in here this means it was a little bit more subjective for me because you know, there is some teams I feel will get lower on here from my personal perspective because, like I said, maybe you're missing a core here or there, or your hazard game isn't quite up to the standard that I was looking for, but it still
Yeah.
can be a better team than what was being shown.
Yeah. I put some like words to remember here. A good coach makes the team good. A good team does not make a coach good.
hmm
Basically, meaning overall, the way you use the team is all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen people go on from being ranked in like 12th and just taking the whole league by storm. So,
I've seen people ranked 16th just win the entire thing.
yeah, and I think with that out of the way, I think we can move into our first coach, yeah?
I think we can.
All right. So here, sitting at 16th, one that we're both pretty much in agreement here with is the Cincinnati Raikus. I'm sorry,
Oh,
Seabass.
all right. Do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start here because this team has my favorite Pokemon, which is coincidentally my least favorite Pokemon, Jirachi. This team has of a lot of psychic types just to start with.
Yeah.
It means it has a lot of common weaknesses, and that's probably the one of the biggest things, at least for me, that was in the subjective area that definitely didn't help you. Uh, Ground immunity is something I look for. Only have Gligar. Earthquake's one of the most spammable moves in the format, and you don't really have anything to take it well. Missing a large majority of your cores. You do have a lot of your mons are decent at setters, but it's really only Gligar that wants to be doing it. Crocodile can do it actually pretty alright, but none of the other Pokemon really want to be. I get that's how Deoxys speed is played at an Uber level. This is a draft
I
format.
I kind of feel like Jirachi could absolutely run it here.
Yeah, Jirachi can
To be honest,
too, but you know, it's just since you
it's not
already
one of
have
those
so many
Pokemon you
psychic
want to like
types,
force into that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's something you want to be more malleable. And I think I also took a little bit off because of your speed tiers. Just cutting right at 100 uh, tends to be
Yeah,
not the best.
that's exactly something. I'll say what
Geo
I said
speed's
here.
very
Like
fast, but like once you're
you
that
don't. I never
fast,
count
it
those.
doesn't affect the
Doesn't
other
matter.
Pokemon that you would be going against. The Deoxys affects Regieleki. you know?
And Reggie, yeah, and I think Deoxys wins that 1v1.
Yeah, so no, you
Okay,
go ahead.
I'll say what
Let's
I
go.
said. The first sentence I have here is I feel like this has started out as a meme team, and then the coach was like, you know what, that's not a good idea.
Hmm.
I kind of feel like it started out as a meme team because triple psychic just right at the beginning just screams, okay, I'm going mono psychic. One big thing I have was um, the trades obviously fixed it. We can't talk about those here, but the trades that I saw I think fixed it a little bit. Um, However, I feel like they grabbed Heracross, right? Like immediately I'm thinking, okay, so you're gonna trade Mega Medi during Grace, and then you didn't trade Mega Medi during Grace at all. And then you have like Gligar here, right? And as you said, it's the only like thing that can take anything from grounds. And like I feel like Gligar here would be fine if there weren't already two ground types on the team.
Hmm.
There's Crocodile and Gastrodon on the team already, and it's just like I kind of feel like that wasn't needed. And then there's Double Poison. Both of them do basically the exact same thing.
Yeah, and on the topic of Gastrodon, this team is just hardwalled by waters. I don't see what breaks through it. Maybe
Yeah,
Mega
this
Medi's
team
Thunder
this team
Punches,
is
right? But
in
like,
this team is in a desperate need of a grass type.
hmm,
Um,
desperately.
and then I said this team also suffers kind of like a bad fire weakness. It has one resist and it's Gastrodon,
Yeah, and one of the best things
and
about
I feel
Mega
like that's
Medicham,
not enough.
one of the best things about Mega Medicham, right,
Yeah,
is you pivot into it,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And then it claims the soul. You only have two pivot Pokemon,
It does. Yep.
so
Yeah, that you need much more pivoting with this Mega Medi.
it's just
And also,
I almost see what the team wants to go for, right? It's just it seems like it started
mhm,
off weird. I think that's kind of just held it
yeah.
back through the draft.
I also kind of complained about the flying weakness here. Jirachi is your only flying resist is not good at all.
Mhm.
I
Uh,
feel like a rock type would be nice here for that personally, or another steel type. But I feel like at this point, it's just like you kind of got to go with it,
yeah,
right?
and they'll put Jirachi into an awkward spot, right? A couple different weeks where
Yeah,
it has to be
it's
especially
just like
defensive, to eat hurricanes or
yeah,
whatnot.
there's so many good flying types in the game, and almost everyone has a flying type, right? It's just like it's a type that you cannot like not have at least two resist to, personally.
Mhm. And that's
And
it.
then obviously, as we said, the 100, I feel like you should get a 110 to 120, you'll be set.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like this team could easily be fixed with a couple picks. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, right? But this team, it's almost there, right? I don't know about if you feel
Yeah.
similarly. Like it just needs one or two different
It
shifts.
there's a few Pokemon that just need to get changed and this team would be completely fine.
Yeah, I don't think we need to rag on it anymore, right? And like I said, even
No,
even though
I
even though
think it's
we've ragged
fine.
on it just a little bit, like I said, yeah, I could easily see this team winning a couple matches. Like it's
Absolutely.
like I said, it's mostly coach skill here that's going to matter.
Yeah.
All right, so
Especially if this coach is like,
so let's move on here. Let's see. We have the Maryville Machamps. I started the last one. Why don't you take this one originally?
oh boy. First sentence I have here. Why round two Pelipper? Oh boy, I do not understand this. So you go round two Pelipper, right? This is my worst ranked team, by the way. I didn't like this team. I don't like Full Rain. And there's some big problems in my opinion. So round two Pelipper, and it was just kind of destined at that point to fail. I feel like Pelipper's like a round five, round six pick, right? Because like there's also Politoed. I also don't understand the Melmetal pick at all because the problem is you have Mega Scizor, right? And obviously, yeah, you do need a secondary steal, at least in my opinion. But someone like Bronzong would have worked way better here, or like even Pharaoh Seed would have worked really nice here. But I feel like Bronzong would have been the way to go. Um, you have also a lot of double types. Obviously water. I feel like Seismitoad and Azumarill could be switched out at this point. I feel like there's better grounds. I feel like there's better fairies. You even have Shiinotic, which I think actually works really well here. And then you have like Blaziken, a Pokemon who wants to spam fire moves that can't spam fire moves because you're in full rain. I will say a few good things I like about this team though. Um, Also, 136 to 100 is not good. A base 115 to 120 would save you. I will say a few good things though. I really like circuitry here. I feel like using circuitry as your electric here is really nice. It can really just run choice scarf and destroy opponents without grounds, or it can definitely kill grounds. And obviously, Mega Scizor just doesn't die in rain. So I think that's a really good pairing there.
And uh, on the topic of rain, I think I made a very similar analogy when I was doing the individual picks. I feel rain. Let me make a food analogy. Rain fits onto a team like the team is the spaghetti, and rain should be the parmesan. This is nothing but parmesan. You know, like
Exactly.
circuitry. It makes the most sense to me here. Able to just lock into thunders, choice
Yep.
locked into thunders will just decimate things that should be a check to it. Outside of like your blissies, right? Uh,
Hmm.
I I get the Scissor Pelipper wanting to have it, but it is a little bit early. I've actually liked the team better when it was Cartana instead of Melmetal. Uh,
Oh, was the team Cartana?
yeah, the team was Cartana instead of Melmetal, and then it was traded. One of the first
Oh, that would
trades.
be so much better here.
Yeah, I like the team a lot when it was Cartana instead of Melmetal. It would have brought you up significantly higher. I mean, so there is some
Yeah.
good things about the team. You have a lot of defoggers. You don't have any type weaknesses. It's just the team's very predictable.
You
You are packing rain, and rain is your win condition. And if your opponent
one of
has a
my
good way to deal with rain, you're not gonna have a good time.
To be fair, they did grab one of the best rain answers in Seismitoad.
Yeah. Although I don't typically like seeing Seismitoad as a sweeper, which I feel like it is
I
here.
I kind of feel like I kind of feel like a sweeper. In my opinion, you got the best rain sweeper in the game in Barraskewda. You could absolutely trade Seismitoad for something else. Another like thing I griped about here, even though you don't really need to, is it's your only stealth rocker because you're not bringing Bidoof to every game. Let's be honest. I mean, like I love Bidoof, but you're not bringing it to every game.
And I think I made a note about that. Like the team wants Seismitoad to sweep, but that means you're giving up a move for rocks. And that's
Exactly.
very awkward.
I mean, if you bring Bidoof and use it for rocks every game, you know what? More power to you.
Mhm.
I'll absolutely watch every game. Also, I learned today that when I was doing this, that for whatever reason Blaziken gets defog. You're not running that. Please don't run defog Blaziken.
Dude, I've seen it work before.
Uh,
It's spicy. I don't
Here,
think it's
don't run
good,
it.
but it's
I don't
spicy.
think it's good. Uh, Anyways, I think we can move on to number
Yeah,
14.
I think we can as well.
Uh, we have coach of the exploding Typhlosions, Nooney, Nunny, one of the two.
Yeah, let me find this team real quick. My notes on them because I think I'll start here with this team. Um,
Yeah,
so let me start. There is things I like on this team. Uh, but I feel like it all doesn't quite fit together right. Um, Darmanitan, you know, great offense on the physical side when the premier breaker is right next to your single strike, right? Latios, one of the most premier special attackers, right? And that first two core seems very good to me. Other than that, just kind of, I feel like it peters out. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it just kind of becomes good mons, but like not really good synergy.
So, okay, I'll say, like, okay, obviously, I'm gonna keep saying my first sentences. Oh boy. Okay, so you were pick four, and you grabbed Darmanitan Galar, and I feel like that Pokemon's gonna make it to you round two.
Yeah, I've seen it go for round one before, but typically like
I've
15th or
I've seen it
16th.
go for round one, but I honestly don't get it. When there's other Pokemon that are really good, although I will say your hazard setters aren't awful. There's a few things on this team, in my opinion, that just don't really work well together. Um, I will say your entire team is made of we'll call this based picks.
Hmm.
I really like some of these picks, although they don't work together. I like some of these picks as like standalone. Like
Right?
I think Bulu is absolutely slept on, but the problem is it doesn't work here at all.
Like if it was Rillaboom, oh man. you know?
If it was Rillaboom, it would be working better here, but like as your solo fairy, ooh, that's kind of bad. And your solo grass,
Yeah, and I mean, I get it, right? Like, there's a couple Pokemon that are like weak to ground, but not really. In fact, I feel like the grassy terrain kind of hurts Darmanitan, you know, in a way that it really
yeah.
can't recover
'Cause, like
from.
one of Darmanitan's main moves is Earthquake.
Yeah, you
Absolutely runs
see it
Earthquake
most
every week.
spammed. Like I said, Earthquake's the most spammed move in the format, right? I feel like
Exactly.
if you're drafting grassy terrain, you're drafting a team that's weak to Earthquake. But I feel like most of the Pokemon on this team are already strong to Earthquake. It's one of the things
Yeah,
I put in here was like, man, who hurt you with Earthquake? You know, like look at this team.
yeah. This team doesn't really care about an Earthquake at all. I don't understand why both of your waters are like breakers as well.
Mm. I mean, Volcanion actually, I feel like can be run pretty
Volcania can
bulky.
run bulky, but I feel like you don't want to have to run it every week as bulky.
Yeah, you don't want
Personally.
to. I mean, I can
Okay, here's the
appreciate it
thing.
if you with Licky Licky. Like, I see the
Here's the thing.
idea.
I like Volcania on here. I don't like Mega Sharpedo here, honestly.
Mm.
Um, I also I really like your hazards though. I think hazard stacking could be a problem for this team a little bit, not too much, but I think for a little bit it could be. Especially if Skarmory just dies at some point, right? From like a fire blast. I feel like at that point hazard stacking is really hard. Even though Volcanion likes to kind of run it sometimes, I feel like it's just not enough. Although I will say your speed tiers are not bad at all.
No, and I feel like some of these gripes are a little bit nitpicky. Like,
Yeah.
the team what can work well. You can easily pilot this to
Oh yeah.
wins.
If as long as you don't have Misty Terrain with Latios, Latios can just put in so much work.
So like,
And
this team, like I said, it's full of good Pokemon. It's just I don't see like the game
this,
plan.
in my opinion, this team wants to be hyper offensive, but it's just not.
Yeah, that's kind of it,
And
right?
to be fair, if you can run hyper offensive, you'll probably make playoffs no matter what. Because very few coaches can deal with hyper offensive when they're newer, right?
Mhm.
Also, please go with a more based, uh, one pointer.
I actually I will stand up for this one pointer.
No,
Uh,
I cannot.
no, I will stand up for only because I stand picking up your mascots.
You know
This
what? You know what? I can agree with that. This is
right?
fine then.
It's
This
fine. It,
I
it was a
I
mascot pick. You could have definitely
will
done better with it, but you know what?
we'll get
Approved.
to the bigger problem in a second. I feel like that's actually next, right? No, it's not next. I think we can move on.
No, next we
Right?
have Effie Steves, the Blazing Blazikins. If I am Blaziken himself. Let's see here.
I'll start this one off.
Yeah, go for
Uh,
it.
I I really like the first four. I think Zera, Clef, Excadrill, Blacephalon. That is the start of an amazing sand team right there. And then you grabbed Weavile.
I agree wholeheartedly. I liked this draft up until Weavile came in, and then I
I,
I
I was just
hated
like,
it.
oh my god, these first four picks, this is gonna be such a good. And then I'm like, oh, Weavile,
Once Weavile
Mesprit.
came, I was like, it's over. It's over.
I like Vaporeon. Everything else I could care less about.
I mean,
That's not
Tangela's okay.
okay. I
It's
will.
not
I will say,
Tangrowth. Porygon's good for like 1 point, right? Like,
I would. I honestly, I think Tangela is fine for its value. I think there's a Pokemon way better for its value. That's a Grass type though. That's Grottle. I think that Pokemon's way better for what it is worth.
yeah, but I mean, I feel like Tangela's a little bit easier to pilot if you don't know what you're doing with
Tangela
battles.
is easier to pilot. Yes, yeah. Archeops makes no sense here. Makes no sense on any team, in my opinion. Girder as like one of your only defog options. That's a little iffy. I don't understand the
Mm.
Mesprit, and obviously we already touched on Weavile.
One of my notes for this team is that I feel like if this team gets a pick, right?
Hmm.
If their opponent somehow blunders a Pokemon, and then you can just go for a one-for-one trade the rest of the game, that's kind of how
Uh,
this team will win, right? Uh,
Yeah,
The second it's able to take just a singular piece of value off of its opponents, it's fine to just revenge kill with all of its first five Pokemon and just kind of go for it, you know?
exactly.
Uh,
This
but if that plan doesn't work out and you're the one getting picked, you lose it on the spot.
I personally think this team should absolutely grab Hippotas.
Yeah, I can see that making a lot of sense for this team. I don't know if Tyranitar's up. I can't remember off the top of my head.
If
That could
Tyrant,
work a lot up
trade up
for your
Weavile
dark,
for it.
right? You can
And
just
a
swap that
few.
for Weavile and you're covering holes
Um,
already.
However, if it's not, grab Hippotas. I know it sounds wild. This Pokemon is actually a good, like specifically a good sand setter because it's low points. It's like probably like three max, right? I just feel like that'd be really good for the team.
Heck, I can check how much it is right now. Let me
Yeah,
see.
but like I
Tiers.
think the first four picks obviously are goaded in my opinion. I think Zero Aura is slept on a little bit.
Yeah,
Zero
Hippotas is
Aura,
exactly 3 points.
exactly. Look, yeah, I totally just read the entire NPBA doc. Didn't just guess. Um, yeah, I think this. I really like this team. I just think it's like middle picks could have been way better.
Yeah, like I said, like the first four, it's great. I understand Vaporeon. I understand Tangela. Uh,
Yeah, I understand Porygon even.
yeah, right. It's like
Archie,
1 point. It's
it's
really
just
solid.
Archeops, Girder, Mesprit, and Weavile that are turning me off from making this like a 10 out of 10 team.
Yeah, this team could, with just a few trades, shoot up the ranks.
It really could. It could absolutely go undefeated if they fix some of these issues. Like if Tyranitar is available, please trade Weavile for it.
Also, just get some more reliable way to clear hazards. I get that Excadrill is like one of the best spinners in the game, but uh, you don't always want to spin, you know?
No, it doesn't always want to press spin, and that's
And
kind of
it's
what it's
it's
being
it's
for.
always going to take damage. You know, you can never switch it in on an earthquake, get a free turn to defog, and then you turn out. You know,
Yeah,
or whatever. So
it's definitely interesting.
yeah, definitely interesting. I think we can move on to the next team now. Yeah.
I think we can. And this one, there was a huge differentiating opinion on
Yes.
this one.
Okay. I think we can both agree in our soul that this team can be up in fifth. I just have. Let me start with my gripes, and I'll let you sing his praises. All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So, most of this is coming from rubric. You're missing a little bit of a core here or there. My issue is that this team has some weird speed tiers, in my opinion. With Cinderace being at 119, which is a bit of a big jump. There's a lot of Pokemon in between. Um, and you're hard walled by waters. Nothing's killing him here. I don't. I mean, your best answer to like a Momola is hitting it with a Wicked Blow or a close combat. Like, oh, and Mega Aggron just desperately wants Sylveon or Umbreon or anything else to give it just massive wishes. Just rebulk it up, just keep it turning, keep it going. And we just don't have Togetic. It's good for its point value, but like, ah,
I kind of feel like another cleric would have been nice here.
another cleric would have been nice. I mean, there's good Pokemon across the board. One of my notes was like, this team looks like it's trying to build like, I think it was Isle of Armor. Is that when Urshifu came out?
I only Isle of Armor Pokemon.
All these,
Yeah.
right? Only Isle of Armor Pokemon, right?
I
Like
actually, if that's what this team was going for, based. Not gonna lie,
based, right? Like, but it's almost Isle of Armor OU. Uh,
it almost is. Yeah.
and then it's just like, man, I wish you had a little bit better hazard game. I wish you had some way to kill waters. I
Yep.
feel like there's just a couple big issues with this team that can be exploited by opponents on a multi-week
Yep.
basis.
I can absolutely see that. I have some like praises about this team. First off, I think the water issue just isn't as bad because I feel like a Thunder Punch from Urshifu just kind of like most waters, other than like Suicune, obviously. But there definitely could be more answers to it. This team really does need a grass type. That's the reason like it just isn't first for me. It needs a grass. Although your two rockers are really good, in my opinion, at least Lando T is the best rocker that's not banned.
Hmm.
And Mega Aggron, well, not always wanting to run the move, it absolutely can. Um, this team like just doesn't real. This team likes to set up hazards, and it kind of looks like it wants to set up hazards, right? But then it just can't in the end because it only has rocks. That's like one thing I was saying is a little bit of a problem. And its only defogger is really Lando T because Togetic doesn't come to every single game. As Call said, I would absolutely grab something else that can press Wish. I would also try and grab. I would really. I think you said something like good about this. I think Lucario and Moltres are redundant here. Absolutely
Hmm.
redundant. Although the core thing, I really like the core Urshifu, Slowbro, Cinderace. I really like that. I don't like
I
that
do too.
Cinderace can't run U-turn, but I really do like that. That's the core.
I mean, and sure, you also have court change, so I didn't really factor in too much. It wouldn't have improved my rank here, but like,
Yeah, I think court change is super situational
yeah,
personally.
it's so hard to put on the Pokemon, and something that I did factor in is specifically because there's a complex ban on Cinderace.
Uh-huh.
Unless you're running it Blaze, you can't click U-turn, which makes it kind of a clunker. I feel like with Urshifu and Slowpoke.
Yeah, personally, honestly, I know this is a different fighting type. If Chestnut's available, I'd grab it.
Yeah, just something along those lines, right?
Chestnut, Grottle. I mean, like I'm gonna praise Grottle, but Grottle, if
Take
it's
take those
available,
extra points, get a better Wisher than Togetic.
yeah, you have like what 2 extra points.
You know,
I don't understand why you have 2 extra points, but yeah, I have some like complaints about this team, but I also have like I really do like this team.
like everything bad I've said, this team will definitely take games. I mean, you have like I said, Urshifu's the best breaker on the
You
physical
literally
end,
have Urshifu. You can't not win at least one.
right? And it'll probably even if you lose every match with this team, it'll probably still be like what first, second kill leader. You know,
Probably. I mean, like Urshifu literally just pressed U-turn until the fairy's dead, and then just pressed Wicked Blow.
it's so good. Oh, what a
It,
disgusting
it's
Pokemon.
so good. I'm surprised most leagues don't ban it, but I
Also,
absolutely see why
side
they
note,
don't.
side note, Sinnoh. Why is Lando going in the seventh round at the very end of the seventh round?
Yeah, I looked at this and I'm just like, huh?
Right? Because that wasn't a trade. That was just where it landed.
Yeah, if that was a trade, that'd be even worse.
Oh my God, what?
I was just like, okay, that's a
I
little
mean, I could
interesting.
see it as a trade somewhere where someone like drafted early that just didn't make sense on the
There's
team. They
also
drafted, they
some
traded
other
away, and
ones. There's
it's
some
just,
other ones that I'll complain about too, when we get later on.
yeah. I
Some
typically didn't hold that against the power rankings,
I
but I just
didn't.
wanted
I
to. I just felt
didn't.
like that had
No,
to be mentioned.
I personally normally, unless it's like really egregious, do not care what draft, like what pick you picked it, as long as it's not like G Darm round one, you're fine for the most part.
Yeah, like I said, I think my previous draft was Cartana in the 10th round to make my team make sense, and it worked out really well. So
Yeah.
you definitely can do it.
All right, I think we should move on to.
Yeah, and we have the Irving Alekids here. Big disparity in our ideas of where this team should land. Uh,
So
yeah, go for it.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. Right, I'm pretty sure I said 7 and you said 14. Right?
Yes, yes, you
Okay,
you
cool.
did.
Okay, so Threshly. I honestly have no idea how Kieran Black made it to you. In my opinion, it's probably one of the best Pokemon that's allowed in NPBA. And it made it all the way to you. In like what, ninth pick or eighth pick, something like that? Seventh pick?
Somewhere like that.
Yeah. I said there was no fairy on the team. In my opinion, Mega Altaria is not really a fairy because obviously it starts out as a dragon flying. It doesn't really fulfill the role that a fairy wants to fulfill all the time, right? It's kind of more of like, oh, I'm going to press this one move, rather than, hey, I'm going to be bulky and just, I mean, although Mega Altaria can be really bulky, right? So, I mean, like, it's fine here. You do have a really good fairy killer for Kieran Black and Corv. Corv, in my opinion, is like really good. I've never got to use it, sadly. Um, but you have three rockers, two of which always kind of want to run rocks, and do believe I said it was Empoleon and Golurk always want to run rocks. Although you're not bringing Golurk to every game, right?
Mhm.
I think the pivot options are really nice. This team desperately needs a grass, though. And that's like a lot. That's a big problem with a lot of these teams. They desperately need a grass type.
That tends to be something that I see happen a lot in the lower tier divisions, just at least from my experience. I don't know about you.
I feel like grass is underrated.
Yeah, right. Um, there, there, there's some good things I want to talk about here. Although maybe they're not necessarily like the great. I'm just gonna tell what Savali. It's always hard to do PRs based around Savali. Uh,
Yeah,
and I imagine most of the time it's gonna be Savali Fairy.
it's
You
either going to
know?
be Savali Fairy or what? Maybe I shouldn't give away the opponent's thing, but it's either going to be Silvally Fairy or Silvally Grass.
Yeah, and I think I put a note that's gonna be one of those two as well when I was talking about this team. It's just
Yeah,
you know. Savali is much like Ditto, where I feel like it comes onto your team because your team was already solid, not because you're trying to fill in a weakness, you know?
exactly. It's just like your team's immensely. It's like one of the Pokemon you pick last because no one else picks it because they don't want to, right? And you're just like, you know what? The rest of my draft's solid. I kind of want this Pokemon just to be a ace in the hole.
And there's a bunch of good ideas with this team, though. I want to point out, even though I think Mega Altaria is the most awkward Mega, not even the worst, it's the most awkward Mega. Um,
It's weird.
oh yeah, right. It's a dragon that's immune to Fairy. No, not dragon immune. It's a dragon that's immune to Dragon. And it's a Fairy that's weak to Fairy, which is just wild.
Yeah.
But it just has to evolve. You have Vikavolt, the most premium, in my opinion. I don't know about you. In my opinion, the most premium sticky web setter in the game right now.
I actually wrote that down. I said having Vikavolt right here is amazing because 115 is your fastest Pokemon.
Hmm.
Vikavolt really works well here.
Oh yeah, and I think it's wonderful Altaria support.
Exactly. Yep.
It makes you so you don't have to DD, even though you do want the power from DD. It like
Don't
means that
need
you
to.
don't have to, right? Uh, and like Mega Altaria can be run mixed, Kieran Black can be run mixed, Corviknight's just I think the premier defogger. Like there's a lot of like good pieces on this team. You know, it's just I feel like it just misses just a little bit here and there, just a bunch of small cuts to bring it down from probably like a great team. And on my rubric, it's sitting at 8 points, which is like the average most teams fall into. I feel like when I put them through
Mhm.
this rubric, it's only
Agreed.
14th for me because there's so many teams that scored higher. And I want to point that out. This
Yeah,
team is
I
good.
I like basically eyeballed which teams were like, better than others, and I think I did a pretty good job at that. I like this team a little bit more, but I feel like there's a few shortcomings. Like I feel like Darmanitan doesn't need to be here personally.
Hmm.
If
But
you're talking
it's
about
nice,
if we're
but
talking
like
about
doesn't
overrated
need to.
types, I feel like fire is kind of overrated.
Uh, I feel like you typically want a fire type, but I almost always dodge it in draft until like I have to get it. And Sinnoh has been my
per,
guilty
pers-
pleasure.
Personally, for me, it's just not a required type because water, grass, dragon, and no, not dragon, fairy, and steel are all required in my opinion, right?
Most of your defensive types, I feel like, are the required types,
Yeah,
right?
they're just required. I feel like fire, like obviously it works in most drafts, but like if I feel like Darmanitan is just weird here personally.
I
Although I
don't
do
hate
like
it.
that. I don't hate it, but I also don't like it. I'm kind of like mid on it.
Yeah. And I think that's about it for this team. I think it's solid. I think it's a fine team. It's just there's a couple different teams that put it higher than me, and I think you're spot on seventh. If I were to look at it just eyeball, I think I'd probably put it around there as well.
Now we have a team that we actually kind of agreed on.
Right? I think this is our first one so far. Yeah, outside of
Yo,
like the very
yo,
first one,
yeah.
but
um,
up until this point.
if coach of the Bolton Weasels, Eminem.
Yeah, and let me a sec. I have to pull up my. Here it is. So this team, my very first line is this team interests me greatly. There's just a
I
lot going on here. It,
My
the,
first line is I am not sure what this team was going for.
I think I get what this team's going for at the end of the day. I just feel like it's missing a few crucial pieces. Starting off with
Okay.
Celesteela, Zygarde, Rotom Wash, Florges. All really good Pokemon. I kind of see how they're supposed to mesh together here. Florges is support for Celesteela. Zygarde's just one of the better just standalone Pokemon, and Rotom Wash is just an amazing defensive offensive pivot.
Rotom Wash is like one of the best Pokemon ever.
Yeah,
It's too
right.
good.
And then I think Mega Beedrill actually makes enough sense here as
Yeah,
well. It's just then it goes Ditto, which I don't think you needed. It's like
I don't think Ditto really worked here.
this team is like just a bunch of tools, in my opinion, a bunch of
Yeah.
toolboxes, uh, a bunch of Pokemon that can do a bunch of different things. But I feel like what it desperately wants is more Pokemon to click U-turn or Volt
Yep.
Switch or Flip Turn,
Really
just
does.
anything like that. Because then you have so many Pokemon that take advantage of that momentum, like
Mhm.
Celesteela, Zygarde,
Yeah.
Chandelure, you know, and then it just you don't have those Pokemon around.
Mhm.
Uh,
That's a problem.
I think that's the main problem. You have Pokemon to fix most situations. Ditto fixes situations, Celesteela fixes situations, Zygarde
Mhm.
capitalizes on certain Pokemon trying to do their things. You know, it's just you don't have any way to set them up reliably. Is
Yeah,
a big
I feel
issue.
like all the pieces are pieces that normally work on teams, just don't mesh well together here. The first five are amazing, but then everything else is just kind of like I don't think they're meshing well enough.
And you have you have
Um,
you have defog options, but your only setter really is Shuckle.
Shuckle's not coming every game. I'm sorry.
I mean, if you do it, props. Much like with the Bidoof earlier, I'll
Yeah.
I'll,
If you
I'll
do
watch
it,
it.
props to you. I'll absolutely watch it, and I will be amazed.
But no, it's definitely not coming every game, which means that your only setting option is Mega Beedrill, which is not coming every game.
Well, no, no. Mega Beedrill is absolutely coming every game here, in my
I oh,
opinion. It's
I think it's a
never
mon
running
that
toxic.
shouldn't. I think it's a mon that shouldn't run every game. I think Mega
Oh,
Beedrill
no.
is strongest on teams when you can like bring it in and out.
Personally, I really love Mega Beedrill, and I feel like bringing it to every game is fine. It's never running toxic spikes.
No.
It's running U-turn, knockoff, poison jab, maybe drill run.
Yeah, and it puts your Shuckle in a weird situation where if you want
Yeah,
spikes, most of the time your opponent will just have a lead against the Shuckle if the Shuckle's there that will click taunt, which means you're kind of forced into mental herb, but then you could also just die, you know?
exactly. I will say this team has a decent grasp. I think different one would work better here, but at least they have a decent grasp.
Yeah, and if it's a nice speed tier the team didn't have without it, like
Exactly. Like it's just like, yeah, I feel like this works here. It's like the only one of the back half that I feel like I'm like, okay, you could not trade this and be completely fine.
uh my biggest note is uh this seems going to be prediction reliant. If you make every
Yeah,
call right, I think this team's perfect, but like you're not going to make every call right. And that's why I said
exactly.
you need more momentum. But outside that, like I said, this team will take wins. You have
There's gonna
some
be
just hard
some
to
players
pick.
who are so unpredictable because they're just random at that point.
Yeah, right. You have some mons that are just so hard to play around that you will just win off of them at some point. But
Mhm.
I feel like it could be better.
I definitely feel like it could be better, but I don't think it's bad.
No,
Not at
not at
all.
all. Get another rocker.
Yeah. Another rocket, please. I beg of you. All right,
All right,
let's move on
the
to
lethal
night.
Lopunnies. Now I have this team
Whoa!
rated high.
Here we
I have
go.
this team rated high, and I'm going to start with this team because I have a lot
Okay,
of good things to say about this team,
okay,
and then there's just
okay.
one major thing I hate about this team. So,
There's, yeah, okay.
first
Yeah.
off, as always, I stand drafting your mascot. First picking it, you know what? I'm all for it. It's got some great tools. Zapdos, I think, is one of the better Pokemon in draft. Just really hard to play around. You know, a bunch of good Pokemon. You have good defogging options. Well, not good, but like, you have some of the good ones. I think Hydreigon's a decent one. You have good Rapid Spin with Fortress. You have Wishes for it that works well together. Like the ideas there. Like this seems very cognizant whoever drafted this was thinking about their picks, in my opinion. And it's a team that
Sure.
makes Selby work. I don't see that happen very often. I think Selby makes
I
sense on this team.
we'll get into my gripes in a minute.
Um, my biggest gripe, though, is that Zapdos, special attack. Hydreigon, special attack. Sylveon, special attack. Nidoking, special attack. Milotic, special attack. Fortress is not an offensive Pokemon. Typhlosion, special attack. Celebi can run physical. Sableye, not an offensive Pokemon, which means your only physical, like attacking Pokemon is Mega Lopunny. And if Lopunny just ever dies, then you're just hard walled by a special wall.
Which Lopunny dies quite a bit.
Lopunny does die quite a bit, and you are going to need to keep it alive against all costs. And it is coming literally every week.
It has to.
There's no niche scenario where you're not bringing your Mega. It is coming every single week, and your opponent will be able to perfectly prep around it because it's never not coming.
Exactly. All right, so here's I'll just read my exact paragraph. This team is like some coffee ice cream. You see it and you think, ooh, chocolate. You expect chocolate and get coffee. That's what this team represents, in my opinion. It feels like it should work, but it just doesn't. First up, let me get this out of the way. Having any Gen 2 starter in your team is just cringe. Typhlosion does nothing here at all, in my opinion, at all. This is a personal hate about Typhlosion. But like I really don't like it here at all. Also, your speed tier down from 135 down to 100 is really bad, especially since Zapdos likes to run bulky. Zapdos kinda can't be bulky here, though, is the problem. Um, like one base 115, it would be really good. Uh, I think personally, I don't like Celebi here at all. I just think it's a little too. It makes the team a little too weak. I kind of feel like trading Typhlosion and Celebi for like a base 110 and a different fire or like maybe a different grass as well could make this team really, really good.
Now, I think Celebi's a weak Pokemon, but it has to be kind of like higher points. I
It's
like it on this team. It's the first time I've ever liked it on. I think we were kind of a little bit odds there, but I agree. Get rid of Typhlosion. Just it's gone. It's just Charizard light, you know. And I hate to say
even
that because
then,
I think Charizard is a way overhyped Pokemon just in general
it's,
because it's the Gen 1
it
starter, right?
really is.
But for Typhlosion to
Venusaur for the
be
win.
for me to feel better about Charizard than Typhlosion, oh man.
Yeah, it kind of just actually kind of works here better.
It's just I see this team getting a fair few wins. Actually, I think this team will see
Mega
playoffs,
Lopunny alone will get it wins.
right? And
There are some teams that just straight up can't do it.
right, there's some teams that straight up can't do it, and I think this team has what it takes to push very far. But a lot of the times, and I think there's another team where I will I'll bring this point up again later. Uh, if you get so predictable and you show your hand so many times in playoffs, your opponent's going to know. And
Exactly.
you'll make the playoffs, but then you'll lose in playoffs. And I think the goal should always try to be to win the league, right? I get that making
Yeah.
playoffs is a good achievement, but like I think you should be shooting to get the big W.
Oh, my NPBA achievement's gonna be like fucking use the Pokemon I want to use.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like though you can grab the Pokemon that you want to use, like even two or three
And
of
do
them,
well, yeah.
and make a really solid team around them, you know.
Exactly.
Um,
That's what I did for my first draft, and I actually went okay for in terms of draft. I played like booty, but you know.
Yeah, and like I said, just get something off of that base 100. That's such an awkward speed tier. It's a good speed tier, but it's such an awkward one. There's so many Pokemon that hit it, and then there's so many Pokemon
Exactly.
like that, like
That
Lando
abuse it.
I, that just troll at 101 or Garchomp at 103. You know?
There's a bunch of Pokemon within like the 120s that can absolutely abuse that team. Like Weavile destroys the team,
Yeah,
sadly.
unfortunately. But I think that's it on it. You know?
Yeah.
So who do we have now?
Oh, this team. I
Oh,
like
hold
this
up, hold up.
team. Yep.
All right, we have the Freeport Fletchlings. There, I got it working now on my end.
Yeah. All right. So I'll say something. I'm very torn about this team. In my opinion, Hail is a really cool weather. It's really underrated. However, why is Sand Slash Alola your Hailmon? And in my opinion, just grab Arctozolt. If you're gonna get Hail, find a way to grab Arctozolt. It's trust me, the Pokemon's actually busted in Hail.
Maybe I have a soft spot for Sand/Slash Alola from like Gen 8 lower tiers, but uh,
Yeah.
I think it's fine, honestly. I think the team just kind of had Ninetales and stumbled into a Slash, you
I
know?
I feel like if you're choosing Ninetales, you're meaning to grab something for the Hail.
Mm,
I don't know. I feel like it's hard to choose a Alola Ninetales and then not just grab a Hailmon, or a Slush Rush. I mean, I will say it will get a few kills.
oh yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I think it's a good niche pick, but
Yeah, I
like
think it's a good niche pick. It will get kills, and
I
it's
think
not the
Alola
only steal here.
supports Aegislash and Hawlucha way more than it supports Sandslash. Is that kind of what you're trying to say here?
Yeah, I'm kind of basically saying, as long as it's not your only steal, it's fine. But I feel like it could have been better, right? Personally.
Yeah, I mean, it's not his only steal. He's got Aegislash.
Yeah, I really do like the pivoting between Coco, Halucha, and Zarude here. It's really nice.
I agree.
That's like one of the best things. I think Druddigan here is really cool. I think Weezing is a really underrated pick. There's one big gripe I have, and in my opinion, 100 to 65 is unacceptable in speed tiers.
I think that's probably the biggest thing holding this team back from being
Yeah,
a crazy team, right?
yeah,
A 35-point gap is
really
so
bad.
abusable. There is a
There,
lot of Pokemon that just want to run like Modest or Adamant in that area that are forced typically to go like Timid or Jolly that will just
mhm.
thank you so much in the
You
prep.
you really need an 85 to 90. You really do.
hmm Uh,
And another gripe I had is this team's kind of weakish to ground. Zarude's good for it, but I mean, like, there's a bunch of Pokemon here that are actually just weak to ground. Your answers are Zarude, Halucha, and Weezing, two of which probably don't come every game. No, Halucha probably comes every game, right?
yeah,
I
probably.
feel like I feel like Weezing doesn't come every game, and Zarude probably comes every game just because it's your dark. But even then, most carry Stone Edge, so Halucha's kind of weakened there. Although it's not weak to Stone Edge. It's still hard to take too many of those, in my opinion.
Electric Seed is defense boosting, yeah.
Yeah, Electric Seed is a defense boost, so I really like Coco Halucha here for that. And then you have Unburden. I mean, like, I got screwed over by that today because I completely forgot. I always forget about Unburden as an ability. So yeah, I mean, like, run that and you'll probably get like 3 or 4 kills with Halucha.
Yeah, I think this team sits at seventh for me because just outside of the rubric, which I feel like if it fits well into, uh, this team just has setup sweepers, right? Like it's either gonna just sweep or it won't, and that will at least get you to playoffs, right? You know, some
It'll at
teams will
least
just
get you
won't,
playoffs, and then it's gonna be how you play after that.
right? Because like some teams will just be weak to Ninetales Aegislash. Some teams will just be weak
Okay,
to Coco Lucha, you know?
exactly. Some
And
teams will be very weak to like Slowking. I mean,
hmm
I think this team is gonna do really well.
yeah, no, I don't see a universe where it doesn't hit playoffs without some really bad play, you know?
Yeah, unless like there's some really bad RNG going on, which I mean I'm a part of all the time.
And I mean that. To be fair, crits will absolutely shred your team because Coco and Ninetales are looking to set up screens. I feel like a lot of the
Exactly.
time. So
They
just
really
don't
are.
get crit, bro. Just it's a skill issue.
Just don't have bad RNG. And you're fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very
right.
much a skill issue.
Yeah, just a skill issue. Just don't get crit.
Exactly. All you
But
need is skill.
I think that's all we have to say on the team. I think this team's just rather solid. I think they'll probably be one of
Yeah,
the teams we speak on the least. You know, Jordagon's a good
yeah,
pick. Like I think it makes sense here. You know, it's just it's a lot of just good Pokemon. I see there's like a sentient train of thought running through this team, and you know
yeah.
they'll do fine,
There's definitely thinking.
right?
I always
So
like to see you're actually thinking because there's some teams in some divisions that I think didn't think a little bit.
yeah, so I think we're good to move on to the next one unless you have anything else to add.
Oh, that's it.
All right, seventh, the Taylor triple threats.
I really
So
like this team.
yeah, and I like this team less.
Yeah, a
Uh,
lot less.
Interesting.
I guess
Remember
I'll
how
start.
earlier you were talking about Kartana and Melmetal? It used to be the opposite
Yeah.
way around.
Oh, yeah. No, no. Okay. I'll open up. I have some words about Cortana here. Uh, oh my God, it's a dragon that actually works with Tapu Fini.
Yeah.
Oh my God, because in my opinion, Garchomp doesn't want to spam Outrage, Dragon Claw. Doesn't want to spam these moves all the time. It can, but it really likes to spam Edgequake. It's basically the Edgequake Mon, right? And with Finny, you'll be able to not have to sub to get away from Toxic round one. And sometimes you'll just be able to get a free SD. Unless like the Pokemon can kill you, obviously just don't SD then. But that's like one really good thing I have to say about the team. I will say this team is really lacking hazards. Its only real hazard setters are Probopass and Frostlass because I highly doubt Garchomp's going to run it to, all games. And Probopass isn't coming every game. I can see Frostlass coming every game
Hmm.
just to be like a spike setup at the very beginning, right? But even then, that's too easy to manipulate. I question how y'all allowed Torn T to get to fourth pick, fourth round. You know,
Yeah, there's a couple Pokemon like that, right?
there's a few, and honestly, I think Cortana is supported by this team perfectly.
I will agree there, and I think this team suffers a little bit due to my rubric. Um, there's a bit of a speed tier. I think's a little bit awkward if I'm correct. I think it was the
Uh,
65 to 85. There's a bit of a gap.
Personally, I
It's
I
not the
kind of feel
worst,
like
but
it's not the worst. I feel like Pokemon in that speed tier always want to kind of are always like bulkier Pokemon that want to run bulkier, right?
yeah,
So I
but
feel like it's not like
I
the
think I think
big.
my idea there is that typically Umbreon's not going to be running any speed investment, and then
Yeah.
Feeny a lot of the time will not be either. So
I mean, like Starfinies is something that can
Scarfini is
absolutely.
something, but then you're like not even base 85 anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like yeah. I also kind of like Hariyama here.
Yeah, I
I
like
think it's
Hariyama
actually
too.
I think I think Hariyama is while not the best fighting type in the game, is pretty nice.
I think my like I said, where this team lost a little bit of points with me is just like the is my intangibles area, which is the more
Yeah,
subjective section. I Umbreon really is missing a bulky steel type. It made sense with Melmetal. It makes less sense with Kartana. Um,
I feel like picking up Probopass was the right call, but I feel like it could absolutely be something better.
right? Like I wish it was just like I was saying
I
earlier,
wish it
something
was
like
a
Mega Aggron or something.
Bronzong.
Like Bronzong, Mega Aggron, something thick,
I hype for
Melmetal.
Bronzong
You know?
so much.
Oh yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah, I
using him in
wonder.
another team.
Only if there was a Mel Metal on this team.
Right? But I actually can agree with the Kartana play here. It both make sense in my opinion.
Uh,
Uh,
on this team, in my opinion, Cartana's gonna come in and get like 2 or 3 kills every game.
yeah. Like I was running Kartana in the last Johto division, kind of like just as a win con at the very end, which is something it's great for.
I need to run it again. I ran it on like an awful team for it, but this Pokemon's really good if you know what you're doing with it.
Yeah, and you have, well, not like the most U-turners, which is something I think Karton wants. You don't really have the best Volt Turn core. You do have
You
two
have the
really good
okay.
Pokemon for it in Tornadus and Rotom.
You have the best U-turner in the entire game, in my opinion.
I just wish there was like maybe one or two more.
Yeah, I wish there was like one more U-turner and maybe one more, Volt Switchmon. It would be really nice here.
Because you do have some pretty good Pokemon. I think this was another team that I saw like the first like four picks. I'm like, oh, here we go. We got ROU
We
again.
got we
You
got
know,
some really OP Pokemon, and then it's just like, oh well, here we
right?
go.
And I like Arcanine too. Even it's just
I think Arcanine's pretty nice. I never get to use it, but I want to.
I think my rubric is a little bit harsh this team. I think I kind of agree with you that this team is a little bit closer to third than it is 11th. So I think seventh's fine. I don't think that this team is going to like go crazy, 6-0 every game, but it should get more
No,
wins
it's
than
definitely
losses.
not. But I think it's gonna get. I think it's gonna be. It's 8 games, right?
9, I believe.
9. I think it's definitely going 6-3.
Yeah, something like that,
Yeah, 6 and 3, 5 and 4, somewhere around there.
right? Just man, just I wish there was just a little bit more synergy with Umbreon. I could see that Pokemon getting traded, in my opinion. I don't know about you. Oh, welcome back. I just put in a
Okay,
pause.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I I could see it getting traded. I could see Umbreon getting traded for something else. I don't know about you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, here we go with amused forehead.
I'm use forehead. So I think this is like a very similar. It's just the opposite thing around. Um, in the previous one where I had this team rated very high, you have it lower. The previous team you had very
Yep.
high, I have lower. And I think there's a reason for that. Um, this team fits very well onto my paper. uh, and there is some really good things about this team on the paper. You know, Mew is just
Yeah.
is a pretty versatile Pokemon. Dragonite's a pretty versatile Pokemon. You have all your cores. Uh, I think your speed tiers are pretty good just across the board. You have good bulk, not too many weaknesses. You have some good offense. Um, and you know, there's a few good Pokemon that will be coming in and out, just leaving you in a good position. But I'm sure that Frosty has some things not so great to say about it.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So my thing is this, in my opinion, this team just doesn't support Mew very well. And like to me, Mew being a jack of all trades on a specific team is just not good. Even though that's what it's like quote unquote supposed to be, I feel like wanting to run one defined Mew set for your games, like not defined set, but it's defined type of Mew, like offensive Mew or defensive Mew, stall breaker Mew. Being able to run all those is nice, but like you want to be able to stick to one because then when your opponent thinks you're gonna bring like defensive Mew, you could bring like offensive Mew and they'll just lose. Um,
Mhm.
but in my opinion, Mew is really good with some breakers, and I feel like Mew is gonna be running Dragon Dance here a lot to be kind of a breaker itself, right? You're running with Primarina, who's an okay breaker. You have Salazzle, who's an okay breaker. Mega Manectric, who's an okay breaker. There's like one really big problem with these three Pokemon. They're all special. Your only quote unquote physical breaker, realistically, is Dragonite, and even then, it doesn't want to be forced into breaking. It really likes being bulky. You said you like the speed tiers. I really don't like 100 to 80. I think it's can work, but I feel like an 85 to 95 would have been really good here.
Oh, I don't disagree. In my notes, I have it barely full points in speed tier because of the two like pretty much 20-point gaps. But 20-point gaps are the like perfect. You barely get full points out of me
Yeah,
gap because you pressure the 10 above you and the 10 below you, right? Typically.
I
So
my thing is, I just feel like there's too many Pokemon in there, like Urshifu, that can absolutely abuse that.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like Urshifu. If you're going against Urshifu with a team like Mew, then you just correct me if I'm wrong, but you could. Does Mew get Moonblast? I haven't really used Mew a
It's
lot.
play rough.
Let's play rough. There's things you can do with it,
Yeah,
right?
you can absolutely defeat Mew with you defeat Urshifu with Mew, but you can also do the same around.
Yeah, and
And
I
like
do agree that Mew will be forced into a setup kind of role with same with
yeah,
Dragonite. But
mhm,
I think it will work, honestly. And I think that's
mhm,
where our opinions differ. I think it will work.
yeah.
You don't think it will.
I think it's just like there's two differentiating Mew opinions here, and it's just like okay, yeah, we have different. Now I wrote on my sheet that the only fairy resist is Ferrothorn, but I'm absolutely wrong here. There's Salazzle.
Hmm. There's Slazzle, which is a
Um,
pretty good one.
Pretty good one. I complained about mystical fires and flamethrowers. No, Salazzle's absolutely the fairy Pokemon here.
Right? So,
So when amused forehead when you're reading my stuff, just completely ignore that.
oh, I think very similarly in the last team, I thought Hariyama had gotten Intimidate for some reason, which definitely should. But,
It absolutely should, yeah.
right, but,
I put this at the very end. I said you need to if you can't make too many FAs. However, I think you need to take like these words to heart. You have the most versatile Pokemon Pokemon of all time. Use it wisely.
Hmm.
You
I
have
think so as
Mew,
well.
use it wisely, and you can win. Because here's the thing: you're in the lowest division. Not too many people know how to prep for Mew.
That's it. Spend like 30 minutes alone building your Mew set. You know?
Exactly. Like I'm in an A. Okay, I'll go off into a tangent here. I'm in an AAA league, and I'm in like the bottom division. No one knows how to break unaware Mew.
Yeah, just play it well and you'll win. I think this team, if you play it well, will win the league, personally.
It
If you play it
absolutely
well.
could.
Uh,
If you play it well, like the only Pokemon I feel like is weird here is Avalugg, but even then, I love Avalugg. You know, based pick, based.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And I think you kind of wanted the rapid spinner anyways.
I think so too.
You'd have a very hard time getting rid of hazards if you're
Yeah,
forcing the two Pokemon that want to set up to run defog.
yeah, especially on this
And I think that's
team.
where you kind of lost some points on my thing as well. Hazard games are a
Yeah,
little bit awkward.
I think we can move on. And another team that we have very different opinions about.
Yes, we do have very different opinions. First of all, I want to point out this is first on my list. I was very, very surprised to have this team first on my list because I hated your draft the entire way
Oh,
through. I'll be honest. This team with its trades and grace improved significantly.
what was it
Significantly.
before?
It was like three fairies, not fairies, but like three like not fairies, like three like pixies, the base 100 Pokemon,
Oh boy.
like Lando, Naganadel, just a bunch of special breakers, and this team improved the most. Uh,
Yeah.
and this team hits a lot of good things on my paper. Let me see here. All of your cores are checked. There's a very minor nitpick that I'd love to see a fourth setter. You got your ground immunities, water killing. Your speed tiering is pretty good. Typically, I want to see 101 to 120, followed by a Pokemon that's more than 120, which you technically have with a 101 Pokemon and a 121 Pokemon. So it fills it in there. And I think there is a decent core going on here that is going to pivot into whatever's the best killing Pokemon at the time. Um, you're just going to click U-turn on Landorus, Naganadel, Victini, etc. to go into one of the best killing Pokemon, and you have some decent trapping with Magnezone and Trapinch. People, Trapinch was one point. I saw some of you clowning on Trapinch.
Well,
Trapinch
Trapinch.
has messed me up multiple times.
I literally wrote in my things, Trapinch is the most based one point pick ever.
It has first impression, and it will just kill things like Mega Mawile, just straight up. So
Yeah,
I think
this
this draft is good from my point of view. I like a lot of the Pokemon here. I think Naganadel and Landers is a little bit redundant, but you know what? I think it can work. Uh,
I
what's your
yeah, I agree here.
thoughts?
All right. Let's get into my thoughts. Okay. So I know this happened in Hoenn too. I do not understand it. Why is Naganadel and Orlando Eye here? There are two Pokemon that do the exact same thing. They're just different
Hmm.
types.
Oh, dude,
It
if
is,
if it
and
was
they're both weak to
Naganadel and Lando
ice.
T, I would be a
It'd
lot
be
happier.
it'd be so good. But you have Naganadel who always runs special. You're not running physical Naganadel. Lando I who can run physical, but I feel like it wants to run special more because more special moves are usable with sheer force. Victini can run physical. Hero runs special. Mega Blastoise runs special. Magnezone runs special. Serena, it runs physical sometimes. It's really more of a bulky Pokemon. Aware runs physical. And then your last three picks are literally just picks that aren't offensive at all. You have so much physical special pressure here. You do not have enough physical. I feel like Lando I needs to be traded out for some physical breaker if there is one left.
This is like the reverse issue
Uh,
of the Lopunnies.
I also do not understand why there's two dragons on this team. I understand Naganadel and Kirim don't share many weaknesses. I do not understand why there's two dragons on this team. I feel like Kirim was kind of just bad here, personally.
I don't know what you'd trade for it, but
I don't
I
know what you trade for it. I personally feel like Lando I is more important to get out personally, but I mean, like if you want to keep Lando I, trade Kieran for some physical breaker if you can.
I mean, I think Landoi is the most awkward Pokemon on the team, which is weird
I
because it's Landoi, right?
absolutely
But
like. Okay, I know like Chonk has it in Hoenn. I just don't understand it. I like when I saw him pick that, he's like, "Oh, this is broken." I'm like, "They're too."
I think that's the entire thought process, right? I think it happened in Sinnoh as well. Man, Nana is broken. Oh man, Landorus is broken. Man, Lando T was still there, just with open
Linda, yeah,
arms. And then
exactly,
just seeing it go in the seventh round when it would have just fit so beautifully here.
exactly. It would have been so good. Naganadel Lando T could be really good. Just didn't get it.
Also, it would have solved your like hazard game significantly because it's like the
Oh
best
yeah,
one.
exactly.
That's probably what I dislike about this team the most is your hazard game. Um,
I don't like the hazard game either. It's
it's
kind of just
very weak, very weak. Just in setting and removing. I think you can win without the hazards, but I think your team would have very appreciated it.
yeah, I absolutely agree.
But I think that's about it on this team, unless there's anything else you want to add.
Not really.
All right.
Let's move on to number 4.
Yeah, someone we both agreed, I think, for the first time where we both agreed on the pick exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. This team's really interesting.
Oh, I love this
One
team, dude.
at a
I want to
first
play this team.
at a first glance, I was like, man, why is this such a weird Dragapult team? And then I'm getting into it. I'm like, you know what? It's kind of all meshes together nicely.
Like I said, I would love to pilot this team for a while. Like,
Yeah, I would love it. Um, I will say you have like two of the best defoggers in the entire game. I can't remember what they are. Oh yeah, Scizor and
Scissor and
Mandibuzz.
Mandibuzz.
I think those are the best defoggers in the entire game, honestly.
I think Corviknight's a little bit better than Mandibuzz, but I
Yeah,
can agree.
Corviknight's pretty good. I just don't like Corviknight can't set up rocks.
Yeah, that's fair.
um, I the only like the biggest gripe I have about this team is the 142 to 108 drop.
I can see
I
that.
don't know if that's yeah. I don't like
I
that gripe. I think
I feel like
the
it's
120 would have been really nice.
a 120 is nice, but like typically I just want to see something pressuring around there.
Yeah.
It's not a big thing for me. I can see where other people get a little bit stuck up on it.
Mhm.
I just like to see something above 120 and something around 120 that just doesn't allow the 120 Pokemon to just go
Mhm.
insane, you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
but there's a lot good going on here, right?
a
Like,
lot good. I think a better grass type would be nice. I feel like
yeah,
Rosalia is a little weird here.
I mean, I agree. I think you kind of need it, and it's a really good value pick, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you needed another setter because even though Terrakion can run
Yeah.
them, you're typically going to be choice locked, I feel, most of the time on
Yeah,
Terrakion.
especially here. This is definitely a choice mon here, and it's a good choice mon. I mean, like, it's really
Right? It's one of the
good.
best, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really is. And then it's just like here it has to run it, which in my opinion kind of just hurts it a little bit.
Yeah, right. The Swampert would love to have that taken off of its back just a little bit.
Exactly.
And then
So
on the hazard removing side, you're fine. I just wish you had something else to throw him out there so Swampert didn't have to do it every week. I mean, Swampert can do it every week. Like,
can
like you have like the resists to support Swampert. Like, look at that grass like resist over there. It's
Mhm.
there, you know. Like there's two 1/4s, tons of halves. It's
Yep.
just I don't know.
I think Mr. Rhyme is the most based ice type you can pick here.
No,
It
it's a good
is.
Pokemon in my opinion for the
I
points.
for the points, it's really nice. I need to use it, but man, it's based here in my opinion. I think with rapid spin, it's gonna do something. At
I
least
think
comes one game.
the one Pokemon I dislike the most actually on this team is Audino. Um,
See, I like Audino here. The
I
one
like
Pokemon I dislike is Togedemaru here.
okay, I can see that actually. It's
As
kind of
your
like that combo.
steel?
I mean,
Oh,
Scissor is their steal, right?
oh yeah, Scissors are steel.
But I wish
I
that there
always
was a
forget
better
that Scissors
steal
are
to
steel.
abuse the wish, right? Because Scissor already
Exactly.
has Roost.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I get it. You're kind of running out of points. You're kind of top heavy up there with Dragapult, Scizor, Terrakion, Gardevoir, Mega, Mandibuzz,
Yeah.
Swampert. So I understand why it happened. It's just it kind of feels bad.
I would be very surprised if this team doesn't perform well.
It has a bunch of just really good Pokemon. You know,
Mhm.
Dragapult I think is
I
actually really supported by this team. You can run it either physically or
I agree.
specially.
I
It's going to be
absolutely agree.
completely unpredictable week to week, which is one of Dragapult's strongest aspects, right? And this
Yeah.
team just allows it to do it. Sometimes I feel like I'll see coaches draft Dragapult and it's forced into specs every week, or it's forced into DD every week, and that's just sad to see.
I
So I
agree.
like that Dragapult's freed up here. Also, wonderful Volt Turn Core. I think, in my
Yeah,
opinion,
that's
just the just Scizor, Mandibuzz, Dragapult. Even though those are like the really only three that are going to be doing it, they're going to do it a lot. Flip turn as
uh,
well on Swampert.
yeah. I think this is gonna be really good for this team.
Mhm. I could talk about this team for a while, so I think we need to
I could
move
too.
past it, right? We didn't even touch on Mega Gardevoir, which I think is
I think it's really good here,
really good as
honestly.
well. So like, unless we're gonna turn this into the Dallas Bushmakers PR video, I think we should probably move on.
Uh, yeah. All right, let's move on to a team that I actually really liked.
And I actually I have a really big issue with this team that I don't think you see as big of an issue with. So I'll let you go first, and then I'll talk about it.
Holy shit, those first three, man. Darkrai, Megalade, Heatran, that is so powerful. I think these three alone are gonna just win games. Like, there's very few teams that are gonna be able to handle these three. And then you got like a really nice core going on with Suicune, Delmise. That's really, really bulky. You have access to T spikes. You have really good access to rocks. I think there's like a few things that stop this being 10 out of 10, and it's that you have two Pokemon that can get rid of hazards, and in my opinion, Delmise isn't coming every game. So really, it's only Togekiss. I feel like some more hazard removal would be really nice, and also your only Ghost resist being Darkrai, I feel like is a little weird.
Yeah, and so here's my issue with the team. I think is a little bit
Mhm.
more that you are always running Darkrai, you're always running Megalade, you're always running Heatran, and you're always running Togekiss. And in that scenario, you have one walker, one remover, and you're probably running Suicune as well almost every week. But I could see it not coming, and you're probably running Nidoqueen every week, but I could see it not coming. And if you're not running Nidoqueen, it's only Heatran. And if you're not running Delmise, you're only defogging with Togekiss, which means you're
Yeah,
also getting rid
that's
of your one set of rocks as well. So like, uh,
it's
it's
a
so
little
close.
weird. It's close. It's definitely not perfect in my opinion. I just really like, in my opinion, the first three alone kind of just make the team.
The Thirsty alone do make the team really good. I wish I wish it was a little bit different after the first three
Yeah,
because like
I feel like some
Darkrai
more.
and Mega Leg are two bonds that you want a momentum in. I feel like, but you're
Um,
not doing either.
exactly. It's it's a little weird. I feel like it's definitely gonna work, but I feel like a few trades can make this a 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah, 100%. And uh, how did we let this happen, Sinnoh? Darkrai slipped
Yeah,
to like what, like 12? I don't remember exactly what his team was, but it was pretty far. And then
really.
just to come back to Mega Gallade, ooh boy,
And
ooh
then
boy,
Heatran. Oh, I mean,
oh man, there's a lot of picks that made it pretty far in my opinion.
yep. I absolutely agree. I mean, Suicune making it to round five, or six,
I
even.
could see Suicune making it to round five.
I I absolutely feel like Suicune's just too
I
good for
think it is
that.
a better Pokemon than round five. I could see a universe where it makes it to round five.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's really the contention with this team, though. I feel like teams that are so predictable like this are playoff teams, but not champion teams. And as such, I think you can put it in my words. It's either not going to make playoffs or it's going to make playoffs, and it will lose in the first round of them. I don't see. I think it will probably make playoffs, but I think it will lose the very
I
first
think
round of
it'll
the
make
playoffs.
playoffs, but I also think it's gonna be so predictable to the point where it's gonna be just lose round one. Yeah.
Yeah, like if your opponent got to fight you before, then they should
Oh
beat
yeah,
you,
no. If they didn't get to fight you before, maybe they'll have some trouble.
right? Because there is 16 coaches. There's only 9 weeks to the regular season. In theory, you could fight only coaches that you haven't fought in the playoffs, and that is your dream
Yeah,
scenario. If you get that, then I think you can win.
absolutely. I think we can move on to second.
All right. And you have them at first. So since this is your first team, I'll let you start off
Oh,
with it. We
I
both agree this team is sick.
I really like this team. Megalodios Rillaboom? I mean, that kind of just almost gets rid of, or not Megalodios. Oh, that would be kind of
Oh
broken.
man, I was running a
Uh,
team that was Megalodios Rillaboom. That was the team I was telling you
Same.
about before this. That
Um,
ended up stalling for like 178 turns.
Mega Diancie Rillaboom. I mean, that kind of just gets rid of one of Mega Diancie's main weaknesses immediately. Although steel is still a problem. You have great steel resist. I mean, you also have a really nice Firewater Grass core going on here with Blastoise and Cineroar Rillaboom, in my opinion. And while 110 to 91 isn't the best, I believe it's kind of usable. I think a 100 would have been really, really nice here, or like a 95, somewhere around there. Hazards absolutely could be better, but you have two Stealth Rockers, you're fine. Some spikes would be really nice here because I feel like this team's going to be in stall wars a little bit sometimes. With I mean, like I've stalled people with Crobat before, so I mean, like obviously, I think Star Wars can happen with any of these Pokemon. Registeel, I think, is really, really good here. And it making to you on round four, that's really surprising. And I just think everything meshes together so well here.
I think that's where I agree too. There's just a lot of Pokemon that abuse each other. Registeel loves to sit in grassy terrain. I think so does Incineroar. You know,
Absolutely does, yeah.
Incineroar loves the recovery from grassy terrain. Mega Diancie likes it. You know, there's a lot going on. You have so many steel resist as well for Mega Diancie, and it's just
Mhm.
there's a lot that's just going right here. Uh, I think the only thing that's holding it back, I think, is because you missed like literally one category that's super. It's kind of like a tiebreaker category on my uh, PRs here.
Mhm.
Otherwise, this team would be probably first as well, maybe second.
Yeah.
It's second
I
here.
yeah, it's second here, obviously. I feel like secondary fairy could have been nice here.
Secondary Fairy could definitely be nice. One that isn't 4 times weak to steel.
Yeah, one that isn't four times weak to steal,
Oh
obviously,
man,
but
right at the beginning of this season, someone posted a replay in Kanto, uh, where it was
is
Smeargle into Mega Diancie turn one, and it was Scarf Smeargle and Double Iron bashed the Mega Diancie, and it just died.
that was probably dashing Sceptile.
Yeah, it was definitely Dashing Sceptile, and that is just something that's so ridiculous that that a Smeargle can kill Mega Diancie. You
Yeah,
know,
it's definitely not the best Pokemon for steel type attacks, but
I think it's supported. You know, I think you
it's
picked
definitely
Mega
supported.
Diancie as your first pick, and you supported it through the board. Uh,
Exactly.
you know, maybe how do you feel about Munchlax? I feel like the points could have probably been spent a little bit better down there, but like
I
that's a small
I
nitpick in my opinion.
I kind of like Munchlax here a little bit. I feel like it doesn't fit the best with the rest of the team. Out of all the Pokemon, it's the only one that kind of is just like, okay, it's a little out there, but I feel like the Ghost immunity is really nice.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. I think that's why it was there, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, it fits the role of, and this is really nitpicky talking about Munchlax. That we're talking about a team, if we're going over your like 1 or 2 point Pokemon as like the one
Yeah.
maybe
That's
pick here.
always a situation you want to be in.
Yeah, so very good, very good. And something I
Oh,
haven't touched on, just a good momentum core. I always love to see that. So,
I always like to see it too.
all right, are we ready to move on to our first here?
Ooh, here we go with first.
Yeah, the Compton Criplups. By the way,
This
I want to
this
start
okay.
off by just saying what a wonderful team logo this is. It has. Have you seen it?
I actually have not. I can go look at it right now.
Oh, fantastic! I love this. This is this is this is peak. This isn't really
I
a
was gonna
logo, but it's good art.
I was originally going to put all the logos on here, but then I ran out of time. I was just like, nope, that's not happening today. Let's
But
see this logo. Probably the most based logo of all time, honestly.
it is just Piplup as a gangster, which I love.
I love this.
Right?
You also have the most based coach name ever. Bug go Burr.
hmm So what do I got to say here then? So the only thing I think that's really holding this team back, in my opinion, is that it's kind of missing a bunch of its cores. Uh, but outside of that, I think it's really good. You don't really have a dragon type, and you're missing a psychic, which is a little bit awkward to me because those are two of the best offensive types, in my opinion. Uh,
See,
but
I
outside of that, it's
actually
got about everything else going for it.
yeah, I disagree with one of those. I feel like Dragon's super overrated in draft. I feel like it's a better defensive type just because of how many resist it has. But that's probably all why I always go with Komodo as like my main dragon.
Well, let me say, if you get like a Pokemon that a fast dragon, then it's probably the best
Yeah,
offensive typing.
yeah, probably like Dracovish or something like that. It's really nice.
Dracovish, Lottie twins, you
This
know.
team, in my opinion, supports Mega Mawile really, really well.
Yeah, I think that's what gets you so high, honestly.
Yeah, Mega Mawile is the best breaker in the entire game.
It's the strongest physical hitter in the
It's
entire game, the highest
strongest
base
physical
attack,
hitter. If it had speed, it would be banned.
right? Oh God, can you imagine if Mega Mile had just like,
If Mega Mawile
well,
had
Mawa.
agility,
Well, I'm saying Mawile itself is just such a low base stat Pokemon. If it just had
and
like
then
another 50 base stats to play with,
they
I wouldn't even care if they
basically
were all in attack. That would just be even more crazy.
when they made Mega Mawile, they're like, okay, we can't fix this to the point where it's actually good. Let's just give it 100 extra points with an ability.
Let's give it 100 extra points, and then it's not even truly 100 extra points because they pumped its attack with pure power. So it's more than that, realistically.
It's a lot. It's really good. I personally don't like using it, but I see the hype.
Yeah, it's not my favorite Mega either, but I see a lot of people perform really well with Mega Mawile.
I agree.
I wish there was one more. Wait, let's say, actually, no, I was thinking of a different team here. Uh, I agree. The sport's good. There's a lot of Pokemon that will just get it in when it's good, and it will just kill something. And then it'll go
Yeah,
out, and then it'll come back in again and kill something again. And then it'll go back out and come back in again and kill something.
yeah. It's basically every time it comes in, it's killing something. It's taking a life.
Right? There's very few Pokemon that can stand up to what this Pokemon puts out. And
Zamazenta's the only Pokemon that can do it.
there's another one. I actually had a match day with Mega Steelix, which is a pretty good answer to Mega Mawile, but like very
Ooh.
niche, you know?
If Mega Mawile got Earthquake, it would also be banned. In
Yeah,
fact,
right. So like you're you got it going on. I think there's a lot of Pokemon that won't die upon switching out, be able to recover, and then get Mega Mawile back in when it's good, or get Keldeo in when it's good, et cetera, just kind of down the line. And this team will just play well. I think even like this team just plays very fluidly in my mind, and it just
I agree.
does what it wants to do.
Absolutely agree.
Uh, your hazard games, good. Your U-turn, Volt Switch, good. You know, you have Trick Room on only Comfy, I believe, and because Smeargle is a bit weird, so
Smeargle can run Trick Room, sure.
like, but like you're never running. I guess it's not
No.
never, but you get what I mean, right?
Yeah,
But outside that, I don't think you need the Trick Room for Mega Mile here, and it's just good. It's just good.
really
There's
good.
nothing bad to say. You're not weak anywhere. You covered all your weaknesses and you got some offense. You know,
I think this is absolutely an amazing draft, and I cannot wait to see where it goes.
right? Which feels it's very interesting to me because it doesn't have any of those very flashy like God this Pokemon, right?
Yeah,
Mega Mawile is kind of that, but like not really. So it's very solid. I like this team.
absolutely really good. Yep, I agree.
All right, and I think that brings us here to the end. So, any closing thoughts here?
Uh, all overall, Sinnoh's teams were pretty good in my opinion.
Hmm. And like I said,
There's a
there's a
few.
few teams that are like low on my personal rating, but if you look,
Yeah,
it's out of 11 points, and 8 is to where most teams typically end up around. And I think 8 was like 14th here. So,
yeah. In my opinion, overall, solid drafting. There's a few teams that could use some love, but overall, I think this division did a really good job.
yeah, and the most important thing, I want to stress this back again, is going to be how you play. It's not
Exactly.
going to be our power rankings. It's not going to be, you know, uh, any specific Pokemon. It's going to be how you play out your matches and how you prep for them.
Yep.
So you can come in here, be bottom of our lists. Like I said, I think I
And
literally
win the
had their
entire thing.
Shifu team at second lowest, and you could just
Yep.
wipe it all out.
Just matters how you play.
And if you were wild enough to watch this entire video, Flattered won, uh, because I imagine a lot of you are just going to skip straight to your team and then close
Exactly.
it. But if you watch this entire video, kudos. So, all right. Is there anything else you want to say, or are we going to just close it out?
That's good.
All right. Well, good luck, Sinnoh. I will be watching all of your games going forward here, getting them all locked into the document. And thank you for watching. Good luck on your season, and goodbye.